Hey, it's Tori, and welcome back to my channel. Today we have Alex from Melancholia on the channel. How are you doing today, Alex?
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good, thank you. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the channel and to talk about your band. And of course, you just recently, well, not just recently, but you signed to Nuclear Blast. How was that for you in the band?
It was a bit of a shock. It's been like about a year now, and I'm still
Yeah.
like, it hasn't really like sunk in. Like I'm on arguably the biggest metal label in the world. Like all of us in the band were just like, what is happening type thing. But we're super, super grateful for the opportunity and like how receptive they've been to us and how great they've been. The whole team's been amazing. So yeah, we're pretty blown away by it.
Yeah, they're a really great label, even for us reactors. They understand that scene and how it's become like the new way of advertisement, if you will. So they're really great with us too. Um, you released your album on the 21st of April, which was called Hiss Through Rotten Teeth, and you released four singles from that, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you find the response from people who were just discovering your music and now have become fans of your music?
It's been a bit of a whirlwind. I think people have sort of latched on quite hard. Like the fans that we have gathered from this has been like we've immediately gotten like diehard fans. It's not just been like, oh, I like this band. Like, I mean, we had on our last tour, we've had someone come up to us to sign their arm to get it tattooed, and then got our signatures tattooed, and like all this wild stuff like that. And like, we've got people that show up to every single show, no matter where it is, like flying over from different states. And yeah, it's really snowballed really fast, and it's still picking up pace, even, months after we've released it. So the reaction's been, yeah, a little bit more than what we were expecting, to be honest.
Well, honestly, I've only heard, of course, I've only heard the one song from the album, which was the reaction I did for today. And even from that one song, I am hooked, and I just want to hear more, and I want to hear the whole, I want to sit down and properly get to listen to the album. And it's just because it's so different. Like I love first and foremost, I love like the horror aspect that you guys have got going on, but then your vocals, that's what's captivating me is just your range and how you go from like these I call them like higher goblin style vocals to like the lower like more deep like what you think of like how a demon would sound, in horror movies like The Exorcist. He's got that lower gruff, and it's amazing. Like, what got you into music and this sort of style of vocals?
I think it'll like I've been listening to this kind of music since I was about 7 years old.
Mm.
I've had older brothers sort of push me down that path, but it sort of started gateway as like Slipknot was the gateway. And then I think I would have been about 11 years old, and my older brother sort of just like turned on At the Gates, Blinded by Fear, and just forced me to scream along to it. And that was like a higher register type screaming. And ever since I was 11, it was kind of like on and off. Me and my brother would like go to the family computer and like put on our favorite songs and like try and scream along to them. And eventually we just got to this point. He also does it. And yeah, it was sort of like gatewayed through like Slipknot, and then into like metalcore bands like Atreyu. And then it kept getting heavier and heavier and heavier until I was trying to do, like Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation, and, vocalists like Travis Sternad from Black Dahlia Murder, rest in peace. Yeah, it just kept going. Like I just kept pushing more and more extreme until I had this vocal set on me. And yeah, I just kept going and tweaking until it got to the sound that you hear today.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and like vocalists like you blow me away all the time. Not to like give you a big head or anything, but
Oh, no, I really do appreciate the kind words. It does mean a lot. Thank you.
could you go into detail about like why you chose the name Melancholia for the band?
Yeah, of course. It was such a that was probably the longest process was trying to pick a name because we had most of everything like ready to go. And I
Hmm.
had this list on my phone of names and we just like couldn't land on it. We had that like we had Melancholia in the list. And like none of us could like quite settle on a name. For a while we were settled on the album title as a name just for like a week because we were like, oh, it's kind of different. But then we were like, oh, it's too long. And I got Melancholia from two places. I got it from the Lars von Trier movie Melancholia. And also it's a Lyric in a Cradle of Filth song.
Hmm.
They're one of my favorite bands as well. So yeah, we kind of just went, you know what, that's kind of fitting because it sounds like our music's quite melancholic. And I pretty much only write music that's got that kind of an edge to it. I'm not
Hmm.
like all the way in heavy or like all the way in melodic, but it's somewhere in between. So settled on that and we stylized it with like a French spelling and enunciation. So yeah, I think that's sort of like how we ended up on it. It was kind of just like gradually we just went, okay, let's just go with that.
That's awesome. I really enjoyed the name. I think it fits what you're going for with your band and with what your sound is about. And yeah, could you give like a rundown what the album is about in like in your own words, what it means to you, what it's about, just things like
Yeah,
that?
of course. So I write conceptually, so the whole thing's a story. It's
Mm-hmm.
essentially a deity that's cast down from like another worldly realm, to be like is banished to go through the suffering of being a human as a punishment. So stripped of all of its power, but still retaining all of its knowledge of being a deity and just forced into human form. So it just goes through the trials of life, experiencing human emotion on the full spectrum and essentially getting to a point where human emotion overwhelms it and it becomes cynical and numb and like just gets to a point where it, it starts becoming like, self-harm and inflicting harm on others and just as a result from going through the human condition. So yeah, it's essentially just like a cycle of life and death, but through the eyes of a god forced into human form.
That's really, it sounds really awesome. Like I'm definitely like when we wrap up this interview and I'm gonna like sit down and like listen to it because of course with it being more conceptual, you will have taken your songs and you will have laid them out in like that particular order that you're supposed to listen to from like the start all the way to the end of the album. And I think that's really cool. I love like because so I have something called Avantasia. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like where you don't have a mind's eye, so I don't see like pictures or anything in there. So when I talk to people like you who are like super creative, like my sister's the same way, it just like it blows me away and I'm just so fascinated because I don't see that. And yeah, it blows me away that you're able to come up with these creative things for your art basically and your passion and then put that into your music. So I think that's brilliant.
Yeah,
You
that's wild.
Yeah, it's good. I had no idea what it was called for a long time, and my sister and I would talk about it because she's very creative. She's digital artist. She's like writing stories. She's always got like images and stuff going through her mind, and I'm just like I don't like I can tell you what like a horse looks like, but I don't see it in there. You know, it's
Wow.
really weird. It's like when people find out that others don't have that inner monologue with themselves as well as that blew me away too. So
Yeah. Well, so
yeah,
I like, yeah, I very much am like, yeah, the way I would decree if a song is good or not is whether or not I can picture something. So
yeah,
yeah, that's really wild to me. And like I've got the inner monologue as well. So
yeah,
yeah, damn, yeah, that's crazy.
yeah. So I have the monologue. I just don't. I guess that's why like at nighttime I just my head hits the pillow and I'm out unless I'm like anxious about something. But it's more of like a monologue. I don't see images flashing or anything like that. And same with dreams. Like I rarely ever dream about like images. It's more so like a running monologue type thing.
Wow.
um You just had a question and answer session in a Saw themed escape room, which is where you filmed your first single. Like, how did you guys decide to do that? Like, how did that come about to decide to go
Uh,
back and do the Q&A there?
it was actually our Australian PR, Ophelia. She suggested that we go back like to the thing, and she was just like, what if we do a Q&A and you get like our friend Jace from like one of our favorite podcasts, what we did on the weekend. She was just like, why don't you just have some fun and show a bit more of like the, I guess, the human side. I think that was
Yeah.
the main thing of it. And the people at Rush Escape Game like love us. We have like a really good working relationship with them because we've done more in other escape rooms with them for other
Mm-hmm.
music videos. But yeah, we just thought like, why not? Like none of us had ever done an escape room either. So that kind of like really tied it all together. Cause like, as you can tell while you're watching it, like we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we went over time. We were in there, like I had the walkie-talkie to the front desk, like asking every 2 seconds, like, what does this mean? The panic was very real, but it was so much fun. And yeah, we're really stoked on it. So yeah, shout out to our Oz PR, Ophelia. She's excellent. She kills it.
Yeah, it was like it was a really fun watch, honestly, just because you've got not only the pressure of trying to get out of that escape room, but then you've also got the added pressure of somebody asking you these random questions about
Yeah,
yourself
yeah.
and trying to concentrate on both things. So, guys, I will of course leave that link down in the description so you guys can go ahead and watch that because it's really fun. It's especially with Halloween coming up, it's just something different and it's something interesting to get to know the band as well. What is your creative process like?
Okay, so within our band, I'm the songwriter and the vocalist. So I guess I start off with I just pick up my guitar and hit record and just start playing around until I get something. And then once I get something, I'll start refining it, and then I'll start adding in drums, bass, all the little bits, and I'll move section by section. And then that will go through another 3 drafts or so until I think it's perfect.
Hmm.
And then vocals come the very last. Like I usually spend probably like I'd say nearly double the amount of time on vocals, just because obviously being that that's technically my instrument and my role in the band, I want that to obviously shine as much as I can. But yeah, like it's just a process of like writing, drafting, and then just going through and picking what's best and not settling for I guess anything that makes us go, oh, this could be better. It has to always, hit the mark straight away. But yeah, it's like I touched on earlier, as long as I can get like a visual from the music, then I deem it as, yeah, this will make the cut type thing. But yeah, it's just a lot of drafting process. I'm very fortunate to have, studied audio engineering and done a fair bit of it to the point where we can record pretty decent demos. And yeah, I've essentially got like unlimited writing access to a studio in my room. So yeah, it's definitely a whole process. I'm never really not writing. I've always got like 1 or 2 ideas on the go. Like at the moment, I think I've got close to like 20 songs written.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like I genuinely feel like I have to do it. It's like a weird feeling inside where I feel the physical need to do it. So yeah, it's a constant thing.
You mentioned Cradle of Filth earlier, like, and I noticed in your music video and just how you present yourself as a band online, you do dress very theatric. Is that something that's important to you in the band?
Yeah, I think it kind of got to a point like I'd been in other bands where we didn't do that kind of stuff. It was just like,
Hmm.
regular attire. I got annoyed just seeing every band come up and everyone just kind of looks the same. Everyone's a bit boring, and it's just like nothing's grabbed me visually. Nothing's been visually striking enough for me since like the early 2000s when bands had like full looks and like, you've got your era of like the Orange County metalcore scene where all of them were wearing like the pink eyeshadow, or you got bands like Cradle of Filth, or you got bands like from the new metal era, you've got Mudvayne and you've got Slipknot, and like they all had like a very particular look. And I don't know, now I just got to a point where it was like scrolling through my feeds, and I'd see a band I wouldn't even think twice. I'd keep swiping because it didn't grab me in any
Mm-hmm.
way. So it was, yeah, very important that we bring some theatrics back into, especially this genre. Like deathcore doesn't really have much of an image. I think
Mm-mm.
it's stuck in that black t-shirt world.
Yeah.
And yeah, Cradle of Filth fans, me especially being a massive Cradle of Filth fan, we took a bit from that. We took a bit from like the early 2000s and like late 90s MTV era. Just a bit more of that like shock look, I guess. It's somewhere in between like that black metal vibe and the new metal vibe. It's I guess it's a combination not been done before, but yeah, just something like very big on the goth aesthetics. I mean, my everyday look is still like, this is me fairly toned down. I'm
Mm-hmm.
usually a bit more makeup, more of a flashy look just for an everyday look. So it's
Yeah.
pretty natural at the end of the day. But yeah, it was just important to make sure that we had something to grab people, I think, and bring back a bit, I guess, that I don't want to say rock star like in like a really gross egotistical way, but that character kind of way.
Yeah, yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from, because you are right in saying, there are a lot of bands now where it is just black jeans and a band t-shirt, or just a t-shirt or something, and they come on and they play and they go off. Whereas it's nice to go and see a band, and they put a bit of thought into their set and their playlist, and how they are going to appear on stage as well. And it grabs you a bit more, and it makes you want to get into the story and what you're telling us, like what your album is about. And I think that's really great. And I love your guys' style. Like, if I could, I have no fashion sense whatsoever. Like, this is me every day. um but I love that aesthetic, and I love the theatrics of it. And yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you that. I think you guys look amazing.
Yeah, that's so kind of you to say. We do work really hard on the look. I'm always like a few steps ahead mentally of like where we're moving with our image and
Hmm.
stuff. And it's something that we will keep up like throughout each album cycle. Things will definitely change, and we'll add in different flavors of things. But I don't know, like I just look like this in general. So even if the
Yeah.
rest of the band didn't, like you're still gonna get at least one that's gonna be looking a bit intense. But yeah, it's just, yeah, super important. Like I can't think of anything more boring and drab than just seeing another dude in a band shirt like playing guitar. It's just like
Yeah. um, Seeing as you like feature like more of the horror aspect, and the more like with the band name, of course being like more like melancholy and things like that. Like, if you could have your music featured in like a horror movie, or like a big horror icons movie, like what would you choose and why?
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
Yeah, I've got a Hellraiser themed sleeve. It's
Oh,
my
that's
favorite movie.
awesome.
So yeah, yeah, definitely Hellraiser. It would have been like one of the original three. I
Yeah.
mean, preferably the two. But yeah, it'd be like a Hellraiser franchise, or I would. You know what's kind of weird? Like I would love our music in a movie, but I would love to score a horror movie just personally. Like
Yeah.
I like a lot of the stuff I play around with these days. It's sort of featured in newer music is a lot more like atmospheric, scored movie style stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would just love to score a horror movie. Like I would love to score like a modern Hellraiser. Or yeah, I think that would definitely be it. It'd be Hellraiser, or it'd be like Event Horizon. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I haven't.
Sam Neill. Yeah, it's if you're a big fan of horror, that's a gem that was missed in the early 2000s. It's got yeah, Sam Neill and the guy who played Morpheus in
Oh, yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne, yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically like hell, but in space. It's
Oh,
insane.
that sounds
Yeah.
like something my husband would like too. He's like, we both love horror, but he's also a huge sci-fi nerd. Like, if you saw this, like, I have these shelves behind me, and like on this side here, he's a huge Trekkie, so he's got like a bunch of Star Trekky stuff. And yeah, we both love horror. My mum raised us on horror. I think the first horror film I saw was like 12 or something like that, and it was, do you remember Ghost Ship with
Yes.
that
I remember.
scene? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the best opening scenes that I've seen. And then we'd have our friends over, and we'd traumatize our friends with that scene.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar. I feel like I did
Yeah.
quite the but yeah, I think if you guys like horror and sci-fi, Event Horizon is
Yeah.
probably it's a great movie, and it was very much slept on like when it came out. It's a cult classic for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look that up and watch it maybe next weekend and see, especially, I mean, Halloween's on Tuesday, but I think we'll look into it and check it out. Did you ever one of our favorites is The Descent. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, that was actually pretty underrated as well. The creatures
Yeah.
in the cave were actually like terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it just, I would never go cave diving anyway, but that just put me off it
Oh,
for
that sealed the
good.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
If you could um describe like your perfect, like, with how, because this is going to be released on Halloween, the interview, if you could describe like what would your perfect Halloween day be like, if you could go anywhere or experience anything, like what would you do, and where would you go?
Okay, so there's this like in Melbourne, it's surrounded out the east side by like a bit of a mountain range. It's called Mount Dandenong, and up there's a little town. It's called Olinda. It's really witchy and really
Ooh.
villagey.
Uh-huh.
That I mean, unfortunately, it's spring during October, or it's like what is it called? Fall? No, spring. Yeah, no, it's spring. It's
Spring.
spring
Yeah.
during up here instead of fall.
Yeah.
So like it gets sunny up here, which I wish it was as gloomy as it gets in, fall winter time. If I could, it would be Olinda in winter slash I guess fall, because it gets really foggy up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go up there purely just to, walk around at the little shops. They got like a little witchcraft shop. They've got, little cafes and stuff like that. So basically just go up there for the vibes, drink hot chocolate, come back down, and just sit in my room watching horror movies. That's like perfect Halloween for me. I very much vibe like because Halloween's never really been big in Australia, but it's starting to get quite big now. Like
Mm-hmm.
people like really dress up for it. Like we went to a Halloween party last night. And
Did you
yeah, like
dress up?
it's yeah, I did. I went as the crow.
Oh, nice.
It's such an easy one. I have all the outfit or wardrobe. I put it on and I said to my partner, I'm like, this is basically like what I wore on our last show on stage. Like it
Yeah.
was not but yeah, like perfect Halloween's like just, watching horror movies. I can't think of anything better than that. Just like simple pleasure. Just making
Yeah.
sure I got a lot of some kind of like hot beverage. But yeah, I've pretty much done that every year of my life since I was like 10. Even though Halloween's never really been big, there was always the Halloween specials on TV and stuff. So I'd try and get in the spooky season spirit as much as I could. But yeah, I think that's it. Just honestly, just as long as if I could make sure the weather was really gloomy, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then horror bed, that's all I need.
That's one thing I miss about, because like I said to you earlier, I'm originally from England, and I'm from like the north of England, so it's gloomy and rainy all the time. And that now living in North Carolina, where it's sunny and it's warm and it doesn't really get cooler until mid-November. And like how it doesn't feel like, I totally understand how it doesn't feel spooky. It doesn't feel,
Yeah.
like the Halloween spirit. And it's like I wish I could go home and like experience it one last time back, well, not one last time, but back home
Yeah.
with, with my family in England, and it be gloomy, and it be even rainy. I wouldn't mind if it was rainy, just the best weather. Like, I used to hate it growing up, but now I miss it. I miss it a lot. That
Is Halloween like a big thing in England?
um it's like Australia. It's kind of like it's getting bigger now. When I was growing
Yeah.
up, it really wasn't a thing, not like it is in America. America is like huge over here. I've seen people. I went to the shop earlier, and there was people walking around in costumes because they'd just been to an event, during the day with their kids. Whereas you wouldn't really see that in England until like Halloween night.
Yeah.
And then people decorate their houses, and like I wouldn't see that in England either. So it's like a huge cultural difference between how big it is over here compared to how it was back home. It's it's getting bigger, and it's catching on, but it's nowhere near like what it is over here.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've always really wanted to do Halloween in America.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool little bucket list thing. I'm hoping one day that we're on tour over there during that time. That would work out perfectly.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go up to like Salem and experience Salem,
Yeah, yeah. That
and cuz I love that kind of stuff as well, like the more witchy it's like kind of aspect of it, and I'm fascinated by the witch trials, and because we had like I grew up in the county of Lancashire, and we had the Pendle witch trials back there, so that was always fascinating to me, and like I just and then Hocus Pocus is cheesy as hell, but I love it.
I love it. I would actually watch that with my partner last week. It would have been, and I got my little gloomy day. Like it was
Yeah.
absolutely like pouring rain on and off. It was really dark and grim. And yeah, like through from the apartment windows, like the city skyline as well was so gloomy. It was
Oh,
perfect. I love Hocus Pocus. I don't care how like cheesy
yes.
and it's just
Yes.
it's the vibe of that movie because it's based in Salem, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's just the whole vibe of that movie is like perfect for that's like rainy day movie for sure. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm a Hocus Pocus stan.
Yes, good. Me too. I even have our black cat. He's called Binks.
Ah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thackeray.
Thackeray Binks and Binks for short. And I ever since I was a kid and I saw that movie, I was like, I want a black cat, and I'm gonna name him Binks.
Nailed it.
I'm not gonna keep you much longer because I know it's you're just about to start your day over there, and it's getting late for me over here. But do you have any like last words for fans watching this, like just words of thanks or uh, things like
Um,
that?
yeah, I guess like thank you everyone who's checked us out so far, who's shared it with a friend or, just supported us in any sort of way. It like I mean, at the level we're at, it's very important to us and it means the world to us that people are jumping on board and getting into it so early. So there's a massive thank you for that. And I guess just yeah, keep watching. We're always, the cogs are always turning in the background. We're never not working on stuff. There's always something coming. So yeah, we've got a lot to do coming up. Next year is going to be a really big year for us. So keep an eye on us and share it to your friends. Stream us on Spotify. Watch us on YouTube. Follow us on social media. Means the world for the support. So thank you guys.
And of course, I will leave all of those links down in the description, as well as the link to the Q&A that they had in the Saw-themed escape room. Alex, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate the chat. It's been amazing getting to know you and the band just a little bit better. And yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us, Tori, and thank you for the reaction. It was a great reaction. Honestly, like I was smiling ear to ear the whole time. So thank you.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm gonna definitely like because you've released the other singles. I'm definitely gonna film those as reactions too. That's why I haven't checked out the album because I wanted to check out what you'd done with any like music videos or anything like that. So I will definitely get on that and have those up soonish, in the
Uh,
next couple of weeks or something like that. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And again, guys, please, if you enjoy Melancholia, please, as Alex said, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like them on their social medias, Spotify, whatever streaming service you use, buy physical copies as well, and merch and all of that good stuff. Everything will be down below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to become a Taurian. Speaking of becoming a Taurian, all of my social media links and my Discord link are down in the description. We'd absolutely love to have you come hang out in the Discord community, and I will see you guys in the next video. Rock on.